The morning sky was heavy with gray clouds, and the city was slowly being swallowed by a steady, relentless rain. Outside a grand mansion, with its perfectly trimmed hedges and glistening marble fountains, a woman sat under a tree. Her uniform was soaked, her hair plastered to her face, and her hands trembled as she tried to eat from a simple plastic lunchbox. The rain mixed with her tears, yet she didn't move toward shelter. Her food was getting ruined, her clothes clung to her, and her small frame shook from cold and exhaustion. She seemed like someone the world had forgotten. That's when he saw her. Richard Hale, one of the city's wealthiest businessmen, a man whose fortune could buy comfort for thousands, yet nothing in his life had prepared him for this sight. He had built an empire from nothing, believing money and power were the answers to everything. He rarely noticed the staff around him, the maids, drivers, and gardeners, all part of the background in his world of success. But this was different. The woman under the tree was Maria, quiet, diligent, and always early. Richard watched from his car, confused. Why would anyone choose to sit outside in the pouring rain when shelter was so close? His staff had a warm kitchen, enough space for everyone. He stepped out, his polished shoes sinking into the wet grass, and called her name, but she didn't respond. Or maybe she didn't want to. When he reached her, Maria tried to stand quickly, hiding her lunch as though she'd done something wrong. Her trembling hands unsettled him. He asked why she sat out here, and she whispered a quiet apology, eyes fixed on the ground. Richard left without pressing further, yet he couldn't shake the image from his mind. That evening, while his family dined in luxury, Richard asked about Maria. One of the senior staff explained that she preferred to eat outside, avoiding the dining room so as not to disturb anyone. Something about that didn't sit right with him. He decided to see for himself. The next day, he followed her discreetly. Maria carried her small lunchbox to the same spot under the tree. The sky had cleared, but the smell of rain lingered. She opened her lunch. It was simple, a bit of rice and beans, perhaps leftovers from the day before. Richard approached gently. "Maria," he said softly, "why don't you eat inside? It's warm now, and no one will mind." She froze, her spoon halfway to her mouth. Then, slowly, she spoke. "Sir, I used to eat inside, but one day, your guests arrived early. I was sitting quietly, and they said my uniform smelled like detergent and I shouldn't be near the dining area. I didn't want to embarrass you again, so I've been eating out here ever since." Richard felt a hollow ache in his chest. He hadn't even remembered that day, yet the thought of someone being treated poorly under his roof pierced him, and her gentle smile, even while explaining, broke something deep inside him. Over the following days, Richard learned more. Maria walked hours from a small, rented room each morning. She was a widow, raising her young son alone, working multiple jobs just to keep him in school. Despite her exhaustion, she remained kind and patient. Richard's guilt grew with every detail he uncovered. One afternoon, he visited her neighborhood. Narrow streets, small worn-out houses, children playing barefoot. In one modest home, he found Maria's son studying under a dim light. Behind him were drawings of a doctor, a hospital, and a woman in a blue uniform. The boy dreamed of helping people, inspired by his mother's sacrifices. That night, Richard couldn't sleep. For the first time, he realized that wealth without empathy was empty. The next morning, he called Maria into his office. Nervously, she entered, unsure if she had done something wrong. Richard handed her an envelope. Inside was a full scholarship for her son and a promotion for her to manage the housekeeping team. With a higher salary. Tears streamed down her face. "Sir, I don't know what to say," she whispered. "You don't have to," Richard replied softly. "Just promise me you'll never eat in the rain again." Weeks later, the mansion felt different. Smiles came easier. Conversations flowed. Richard learned the names and stories of his staff, connecting with them in ways he had never imagined. And every time he passed that tree in the garden, he remembered the day his heart had truly woken up. Years later, Maria's son graduated as a doctor. On that day, Richard clapped the loudest in the audience. Maria thanked him, but he only smiled. "You gave me more than I ever gave you. You reminded me what wealth truly means." Sometimes, all it takes is one act of kindness, one moment of understanding, one look under the rain, to change a heart forever. This story is brought to you by Whispers of Kindness. If it touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And tell us below which lesson resonated with you the most: kindness, humility, or the power of empathy.